I've heard. Never mind. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pundits Pundit. My name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Madmouth. I have a guest tonight. His name is Joel Franco. And where does he represent? Where our children play. It's going to be a good show. We'll be able to focus on children. And Joel will give you some interesting perspectives and the crew that we have in here tonight. To join Joel, the Candy Ebling. Welcome, Candy.
Well, thank you. Joshua, I guess Scotty and the guys, well, and the gal.
Yeah, don't forget that. You're welcome. All right, Jeremy Ballrick, welcome to the big show.
Glad to be here. Let's talk about whatever Joel needs to talk about.
Absolutely. And Denzel Snipes.
Hey, shout out to the guys in the comments, Joshua Dorr and everybody else. I think one of you stole the rooftop to my beard. I'm going to find it from one of y'all, and I'm coming for it, all right? But the beard's still there. Welcome back, guys.
There you go. Welcome back. And Jen, well, hopefully she'll be here later in the broadcast. So with that said, we'll bring on Joel right now. And Joel, first of all, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the national audience.
Well, first of all, Scott, and thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm the co-founder of Where Our Children Play, which is a nonprofit based in Las Vegas, and very soon will also be in Italy. Our goal is to be able to create an environment for kids where they get to train and to properly. And by that, I mean focused on them, where they lead the way. So what we are doing is we're creating some of the things that we're doing, for example, is we're creating an individual training program for the kids where each child gets to an individual program depending on their sport, depending on their age, and obviously if they're boys and girls. And the idea is that all of us are different and all of us have certain needs. And that applies to children too. Too many times in youth sports, we have parents making decisions for their kids, parents deciding when kids practice, when kids go to games, when kids, if they have to do extra practice or extra games. And our whole vision is the opposite of that. We want kids to make those decisions. So when we create this program, is in complete 100% communication with the child. So we talk to them about what they eat, how much they sleep, what their schedule is, when do they get to school, when they get home from school, how many practices. So everything, we pick everything apart so that we can help them fit something that can help them within their schedule. So it's something that they can do it. They don't feel overwhelmed by it. You see what I mean? So for us, it's all about giving power to the kids.
All right, let's go to the chat room. You know, every new guest that comes on here, you know, Joshua Dorr likes to get it, so he wants you to say dog check.
Dog check.
There you go. You got it. Okay. We got the dog check out of the way. And Joshua Dorr says, what's going on, Joel? You just heard it. Okay, very good. All right, so with that said, we'll talk about a couple things, and we're going to open up the questions for the crew. Why a nonprofit here and abroad? Obviously, you said you're opening up in Europe, so explain that in more detail.
Yeah, we want to, well, first of all, it's a nonprofit because
Nothing, he froze.
We are here. When I first started with my partners, the nonprofit, am I frozen?
No, you're good. You're good.
You did.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, I heard frozen, so I thought I was the one frozen. Sorry. No, so I was saying the whole idea of the nonprofit started because we're making a documentary film on youth sports. And once we're working on by the way, the movie, we're editing it right now, so we're almost done. Once we started making the film, we realized that we needed to do more. A movie wasn't going to do enough. We wanted to put our money where our mouth is. So that's why we started a nonprofit. And as we were filming, we also realized that the problems with youth sports are not just an American problem, they're also a world problem. So that's why we wanted to take our concept and bring it to Europe and hopefully other countries, because we want to be able to help kids everywhere. We want to actually try to make changes in the youth sports system. So that's why we did it.
Okay, well, what's the name of your movie for those that are seeing this for the first time?
Well, because we're boring, the movie is also called Where Our Children Play.
Okay.
And hopefully it'll be done the next few months. That's our hope. It's going to be a full feature documentary, and hopefully we'll be out soon.
All right, we'll stay on the Frozen theme. Joshua Dorr has a question for Denzel Snipes. Have you been watching hockey?
Yes, I have. I think actually it was someone else that was on a Facebook post of mine. We were talking about who's going to win out of Tampa and Florida. Florida, of course, being the tougher team, and I'm sure Scott, South Florida team, as well, and the Florida Panthers. As of right now, I've got a Stanley Cup final of Rangers, probably Rangers Stars, but wouldn't be surprised if it was Rangers Panthers.
Okay, there you go, Joshua. You got your question out there. All right, so now rocket
Interesting.
scientist. Wow, that's interesting. If I was a kid, I would say screw school. I want to play hockey all day. Well, for whatever it's worth, when I graduated from Hebrew school back in the day, I didn't graduate from Hebrew school and played hockey in front of my garage and said, folks, I did what I was expected to do. I have 5 months to play hockey. I'm done. And that's it. I put my 4.5 years and didn't get the diploma from Hebrew school, but I traded it for playing hockey. So there you go. So with that said, okay, with that said, you know, you talked about, so let's talk about the training program and your mission to develop kids individually. Explain that to the audience.
Yes, so the idea is very simple. So what we first do is when a parent reach to us, or we meet them somewhere, obviously. The idea is that we do a Zoom conversation, unless we can do it in person, obviously, where we do an assessment with the kid. We talk to the parents. We always believe one of our main things is we got to involve parents. This is not an anti-parent or anti-adult thing. It's we need to bring the kids at the center of it all, and then have everybody else support the child, the athlete. So we do an assessment. We talk to the parents. We find out everything that we need. Like I said, we need to whatever we need to find out, whether they have injuries, they have some allergies, they have a crazy schedule, whatever it is. So we take it all down. And then my partner and I go back and then we create the program. And the program is divided in strength and conditioning, where we create a program from the base up. And by that, we mean we don't just tell the kids, okay, go do push-ups, go do this, go do that. No. Once we do the assessment and we see if they have, like I said, injuries or stiffness or they favor left or right side, whatever it is. They walk like, you know, their knees are off, whatever the problem is that they may have. So then the program that we send them is specific to start working from the bottom. So we start to create a base, and then we start to build on top of that. And then we get harder and harder and harder and harder as we go. Because obviously we don't want to jump in with very complicated exercises that they can't do yet. And obviously, again, if a 10-year-old is going to be different than a 15-year-old for obvious reasons. And then as we, on a monthly basis, because it takes about a month for the kids to really get going with their exercises, we talk to them every week. The idea is for the kids to tell us, hey, this is getting too easy, or this is actually very hard, or I'm having a hard time with this exercise. Can you give me a different one? And then we keep adapting it, and then we keep changing it. So the benefits of that is multiple. One, the kids are starting to take ownership of their work. They're starting to realize, hey, I have a say in this. So they start to become more assertive. They start to be, they're taking, like I said, they take ownership to what they're doing. It's about them. So if they're not comfortable, they can say it because it's a direct line of communication with the coaches. So, and the more they talk, the more comfortable they get. The more comfortable they get, the more information we get. And the more information we get, the easier it is for us to create a program that fits that child. On top of that, though, we don't just do strength and conditioning. We also focus on nutrition because we want to get the kids to understand what nutrition actually is. Not just don't have donuts, don't have ice cream, or don't eat pizza. It's more about focusing on why eating certain things before a game or after for practice, it's not necessarily the best thing for them. So we want to teach them. We are working with them. So we want to find out what they like, what they don't like, allergies, and all those things. And then we start creating a program for that. Like, okay, you're not eating enough protein, or you need to have more veggies or more fruit, whatever it is for that. And the third part of what we're doing is we work with the kids on a cognitive and mental aspect of it. So where we focus on leadership skills and assertiveness and positive, like meditation or whatever it is that a child may need from us, so that the kids can learn all of these tools that they can take into not just into the sports world, but also into the real world. Because obviously, whether they play sports or not, eating properly is never going to hurt you. It's actually a good thing. It's a good habit to have. And be strong mentally is also a good thing to have, whether you're working at a hospital or you're a professional athlete. It doesn't matter. It's still very important. And that's the point, is like we want to give the kids tools that they can use without us, because at the end of the day, you got to give the kids a tool so they can grow up. They don't always need to have us as a parent, us as a coach, with them 24/7 for them to be validated. They should validate themselves. So we want to create individual children that are, safer, more mentally ready, and also take away all that stigma that we have we've had up until recently about, working with kids mentally, not just physically.
All right, let's go to the chat room. Joshua Doris says he can't wait for the movie. Will it be on Netflix?
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Okay, now he's asking if any of you guys watched the Panthers last night.
I saw the fight.
I did. I saw the brawl.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Panthers?
It was actually.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people think the ending was more interesting than the actual game itself with all the fights. So, with that said, Rocket Scientist said, where can we watch the movie? Have any idea where they can watch the movie?
Well, at the moment, nowhere. But if you go to my website, you can catch the trailer. And as soon as the movie's done, I'll let everybody know where you can find it.
Okay, we'll continue on. Smoking Joshua Dorr, this one's for you. Smoking Jeremy, can you show them how to do a dog check, man? You got to do it. There you go, Joshua. You happy? All right, now, Joel, do you focus on a particular sport more than others?
No.
You don't.
In the movie, I mean, for the nonprofit, no, it's any sport.
Okay.
We are starting with, I'll answer that question in just 1 second. We are starting, a lot of the kids that we have reach out to us have been soccer. But like I said, we cover all sports. To answer, I didn't see who it was. I think it was Rocket Scientist. I think it was. It costs $50 a month.
Okay.
All included.
Okay, let's continue on with the question. Joel, are you an athlete or what is your background?
Of course, when I was a kid, I did play a lot of sports. I'm from Italy originally, born and raised in Italy, Milan, Italy. So I played anything from tennis, soccer, basketball. Right. But my dream was always to make movies and to be a coach/teacher. So I only played for fun. I never pursued it as a college or professional. So that's And my
Okay.
partners all played and coached and everything.
Okay. So where in the U.S. can you get a kid trained like this?
Well, that's the beauty of it. Anywhere, because we
Okay.
do everything remotely. The whole point of what we're trying to do is that this can be done at home. You don't need to have a spend. That's why we only charge $50 a month. This is not about how expensive or what fancy equipment you have. This is about what you can do for your kids. So that's it. So we can do everything via Zoom or
Okay.
Google Meet, whichever.
Let's continue the in the chat room. Any baseball watchers here? Well, I have a baseball show. I cover it. So there you go,
Mhm.
Brandon. What about everybody else? Hands up. There you go. There. All right. Now, Joshua Dorr, do you have any golfers in your program?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Hey, this guy touches all bases. So, all right, let's go back to your summer camps. You said that your primary objective here is you work on cognitive, nutrition, and physical. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct.
Okay. Very good. All right. All right, and then I'll turn it over for questions in a moment here. Okay, and finally, the community center. You say your ultimate goal is to create a place where kids and families can hang out, train, and overall be safe. Is that correct?
That is exactly right. That's our dream. That's our ultimate thing that we want to do, is to create community centers all over the place where, like community centers, like old school community centers, where kids can go and train, number one, obviously, but also like be tutored, hang out, get help with school. Because so many times, I've coached high school and I've coached younger kids. A lot of the problems I always had with the kids is not everywhere, of course, but you do have that problem. It's like they don't even know that they can get tutoring. They don't even know that they can get help or classes and whatnot to up their grades. And not every kid has the luxury of living in the nicest, most affluent areas. So
Right.
it's nice to have a place where kids can go and hang out. And it doesn't matter if you are driving a Ferrari or if you're driving a Civic. The beauty is that everybody can hang out together.
All right, we'll turn over to Candy.
And
Take care.
the third,
All right, when he's done. Okay, go ahead.
oh no, and the last part of the process that we want to achieve is to create an area for parents too, because I think parents too often they feel like they're in competition with each other.
Okay.
And the whole idea is to create an environment where we're not in competition with each other. We're there to help each other, one another.
Okay. Now we'll turn over to Candy. Station break.
Station identification. If you see that red subscribe button, it's probably right around Smoking Jeremy B. Hit that, like us, share us with all of your friends, and also support the other panelists on this the show tonight. But if you like to get your podcast wherever you get your podcast, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, Spotify, Castbox, Deezer, Geo7, any of those places, you can find this wonderful broadcast. If you'd like to advertise, call Scott 954-304-49. I can talk. 954-304-4941. We broadcast this live on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Scott wrote a book. It is Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is available Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Google Books, and Apple Books. It talks about how the media industry has changed over his over 40 years in the industry. You can also hit up our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Scott writes, Jeremy writes. We're still trying to get Denzel for us.
My hand's sore. Ah, man. I just got to wake this thing up.
And I take pictures. You can go on there, check it out. I'm trying to think. Is there anything? Did I miss anything, Scott?
Yeah. What about our online store?
Oh, that's right. But I didn't. It's up on our website. You can check out our new merchandise and get right now at grand openings. There's 20% off South Florida Tribune or Motor City Mad Mouth paraphernalia, whether it be shirts or sweatshirts or mugs or baseball caps or women's shirts, stadium seats, check out our store. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Right on that first page, scroll down a little bit. There's a link right there. Go check us out and purchase whatever you'd like. Okay, Scott.
All right. Well, my Twitter information is on your screen at Tribune South. All right, Joshua, thank you for the endorsement on the book. Best book ever. That is final. Question for Candy. Okay, when is the audiobook dropping? Popular
Still
question.
we're working on that, Joshua. We're working on that.
I heard they wanted to get either Denzel Washington or Morgan Freeman because their voices are like butter, and they both turned them down.
Oh, is that
Hey,
right?
I'd throw
Okay.
James Earl Jones in the mix.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Through your incredible skills of crystal ball, why don't you see if you can land them, and then we can go there. And Joshua Dorr says, being as I am illiterate, I need the audiobook. Don't worry, Joshua. You need it, and so do a lot of other people. So there you go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set it up for questions, Joel. And you know what, Candy, you began it. Why don't you ask him a few questions, and we'll go around the horn, and when we're done, then we'll call it a night. And Fire Up will be following this broadcast with Jeremy and Candy. Go ahead, Candy.
So Joel, about how many kids are in this program right now? And is there a max capacity at this point, or?
No, no max capacity. No. So we are open to as many as possible. Right now, we just started taking applications for our summer camps, which we're going to be our first one in Las Vegas. Hopefully, in the next few years, we'll do it obviously in a lot of other places. So right now we're open.
And what state are there? Certain specific states that you have more, because it's like online, right? So it could be you could live in any state. Are there certain states that you're primarily focused on, or
no, anywhere. That's the beauty of it, that we can do it anywhere. Obviously, we are on the West Coast for the most part. I mean, all us, the three of us, are in the West Coast. But if you live on the East Coast or Midwest, we just adjust our times according to the schedule, to the time zone. That's it. It's an easy fix.
How many kids have come through this program so far?
So far, because we've only been a nonprofit for a few months, since the end of last year, so we are somewhat new.
Okay.
We had about 20 kids.
Okay.
That's not bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no,
we had some, and all ages. We had, I think our youngest was 10 or 11, and our oldest, she was 17. 17, yeah.
Well, I got to put this comment up. This is good. Josh, you need to sign up Asher. That's Joshua Dorr's youngest son, Asher. He's adorable too. He really is. I've seen
anytime.
Kids. I'll tell you what, Josh, Asher's great. You and Becky do good work. That's all I can say. That kid is absolutely adorable. A few more years, rocket scientist. All right, let's put those up. And that's a good start, Joe. There you go. See, look at all this endorsement you're getting from the chat room. I told you it'd be a lively group, and this group definitely is.
Thank you.
Anymore. He's only a few more years, Joel. You'll have another one in the program.
That's great. Yeah, two maybe a little bit young, maybe at 3.
So, Candy, any more questions?
I think I want to open it up to the panel, and everybody else can ask a couple questions, and we can just kind of feed off each other.
Okay. Well, Denzel Snipes is up next.
The one that I had right now was, and just listening to how you had it all organized as far as you got nutritionists, and you go based off of the kids' abilities, if they have any inaccuracies or anything. But if they maybe have, like, for example, myself, I have sickle cell trait, so sometimes your physicalness is limited. You can't go like too long or anything, and just that, and based off the training and everything. Did you have anyone, maybe professional sports league, in mind when you did this, or even college sport, or was this strictly just, hey, we're going based off of this, and this? Was there like any inspiration, like how a professional sports team or a college team may organize it?
Well, if mostly no. What we did look into was how the European soccer academies are organized.
There we go.
Because a lot of them are structured that way, where you have practice, you have nutrition, you have strength and conditioning, mental health. And that's kind of, we always like that. Like I said, I'm from Italy. So for me, it was always something in the back of my mind that I wanted to create something, first of all, that we were independent, so that we're not associated with anybody. So it's not like we can work with anybody. We want to work with everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter to us, as long as, good people. Because we don't want it to be just one club or one organization. We just want to be able to work with every kid. I mean, that's the whole point, that we want to reach as many kids as we can possibly reach out to. So that's kind of like how we were talking about it, and then it just kind of evolved. And then we just kind of, as we had kids, we started to see what worked, what didn't work, what we need to do better, what we need to, those, of course, I mean, like anything, you always try to make it better so that the kids benefit from it.
Okay, sweet. Jeremy?
All right. You talked about the community center. When you talk about the old school community centers, I think back to the ones that had an actual library, a couple of classrooms, a gymnasium, and maybe like an outdoor field and track area.
Yep.
Is that kind of what you're thinking about, doing that type of thing? And also, when you
That's
talk about
exactly.
the mental health, a lot of parents need the mental health more than the children because they seem to be very overbearing on their child athlete. They try to get into their heads and drive them to be too competitive at times, where if they're not considered like the alpha dog on any team, then that's not the team for them. Are you trying to eliminate that aspect of the parent child athlete?
Yes. The way that we're trying to do it is non-confrontational, because at the end of the day, we're talking about kids who are 10 to 18. So obviously you need the parents' support. You can't tell the parents to go get lost because, well, the parent is not going to pay for it.
Right.
But but for us, the idea is not to be confrontational with the parents. We want to teach them too. We want to show them what they need to do as well, because the more we talk to our kids, that allows, hopefully, the kids to talk to us. And a lot of times, as parents, especially the overbearing ones, which there are way too many in the youth sports world, kids stop talking to the parents. I mean, one of the kids we interviewed, she told us that she had to tell her mom to stop playing, because if not, her mental health wasn't going to work. And it was getting very dark for that poor child. And the parent wasn't a bad parent, but she had never told the mom until she did. But what we don't want to have is, listened, luckily think out. But how many times we hear horrible stories about parents and children who don't talk to each other, then something horrible happened to that child, and the parent says, well, I wish I knew.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, the idea is to create an environment that is safe for everybody, where, again, we're not in competition with one another. So it's not about, oh, my son is playing A ball, B ball, C ball, G ball, whatever it is, or whatever the sport. It's all about the community. And parents need help too. And I don't mean, ha, 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 parents are crazy. I mean, parents need help in the sense of, we need to be able to vent and to ask advice and say, hey, have you seen this? Have you heard about that crazy coach? I was like, have you seen this? Can we find a different program? Whatever it is, parents need help too. Parents need to talk about stuff too. Like, hey, this is very expensive. Have you found something cheaper, or whatever it is, right? So yeah, we want to be able to create an environment where people are safe to talk, enjoy themselves, in the community where they are, which is also very important. We're losing that too much. Everybody's becoming individual instead of still working together.
You have another
I like
question?
Joshua has a question. Do you
Yeah.
have different programs catered to different sports, or is it a one fits all structure?
No, each program that we develop for a child, an athlete, is specific to their sport. So if they are football players, obviously they're going to have different needs. That if they're a golf player, or if they are hockey or baseball, whatever. What it is, quote unquote, structured is the fact that we always start at the bottom. So like I said, if a child has very stiff hips, we want to make sure before we start to piling on the exercises that they have to do for their sport, we teach the kid, okay, how do we loosen up your hips? Like we try to teach, okay, try to get to practice or to a game a little bit before so you can do these exercises so you can feel better, that sort of thing. So we build on top of it. So we don't go start at, in fifth gear, we start in first. Other than that, it's all based on the child and on the sport, because every sport is different. You don't train as a football player the way you train as a soccer player, the way you train as a basketball player. So it's completely different. I mean, some things, of course, overlap, but
I just want to let everybody
they're
know
different.
that in case you're joining us, my name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Madmouth. We are a Pundit. Our guest is Joel Franco. He's a co-owner of Where Our Children Play. Known Joel for quite a while. And, that's a good question. How did we get in correspondence with me? We actually met, I think, through LinkedIn, didn't we, Joel? And I approached you about coming
Yes.
on. Great question. So for you, a lot of you folks out there that are looking to meet some quality people, professional people, LinkedIn's really the way to go. And I've had a lot of great guests because of LinkedIn. So rocket scientists. So again, this is a very important subject for a lot of folks where children play. I've had Joel on a no limit show where we talked on our own, but now I wanted to open it up tonight so more people could get involved. So let's go back to the chat room. So rocket scientists, how did you figure out this secret formula?
It was a totally different question that came up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's been a long time coming. It's been working it out with my partners and talking it out and see what was needed, what was missing. Seeing what my friends and other parents and other coaches are going through, their struggles, how kids are growing. A lot started to be refined once I started working on the movie and meeting a lot of doctors and therapists and nutritionists and all these other people, because that opened my mind and my eyes to things I didn't know. Like, for example, how important it is to train girls in a very specific way, that they're not boys. Too many girls get hurt because they're not trained properly, and it's horrible. I mean, girls actually get hurt to the tune of 5-6 times more than boys.
Yeah.
And that's horrible because it can be avoided.
Right.
So once I started to learn about those things, that's how we started to refine what we wanted to do.
Okay, another question here, the one that popped up before and pop goes the weasel with the one above it. Before you started this nonprofit, what did you do for work?
A lot of begging. No, I'm a filmmaker by trade. So I did a couple other documentaries before this one. I also teach and coach. Those always been my passion, so I've been lucky enough to be able to do them.
Okay, very good. Well, anybody have any other questions out here? Chat room's been great. Joshua Dorr, rocket scientists, are on fire tonight, coming up with some really great questions. That's why this chat room is so important, because they'll come up with questions that we haven't been able to come up with. Joshua Dorr fires another one. What other films have you made?
Well, I did. We did two. Oh, sorry, I thought it was somebody else talking. So I've made two other documentaries. One This last one I made was Truth Unscripted, the life of Dino Costa, who was a sports talk show host on Sirius XM a few years ago. And it was his life story and how he rise and fall of a guy who was self-made, great radio talk show host, which unfortunately fell on hard times as we were finishing the movie. And then we also did another movie based on the life story of Denis Histand, which he is an incredible human being that lives in Las Vegas, and and we told his life story, and he's one of the people that created the cream, which is the only clean product for women out there, as a cream, like moisturizers, that kind of stuff. So there's a completely chemical free, and it's an incredible product. But we were interested in his life, and especially as a man, his ups, his downs, all his struggles. So if you go to our bestfilms.com website, you can find all the information about all of the movies and where you can watch them.
All right, well, here, Joshua Dorr likes to have fun on these shows. We'll give him some rope on some shows. He's going to get it tonight. Can you make a film on the life of Smokin' Jay?
Why not?
That could be either a real stinker or a cult classic.
Yeah, well,
Definitely a cult classic.
The other thing I wanted to ask, when you get into the psyche of athletes, the basis of all athletes is in your mind to try and be the best you can be at the craft you're trying to perfect. You may not be the best player on that team, but your mental aspect has to be that you are the best you can be at that time. So
it is.
If that's the
and
case,
that's exactly. Go ahead.
If that's the case, and it differs with girls, because girls are more about that teamwork attitude than boys. If you look at all sports, you got way more teamwork in the girls' sports than you have in the boys' team sports. And because the boys are all about, I got to be the best, I got to do this better than this person. And that's, and they're taught that basically by their parents telling them that. And the bad part is the ones that are not that good at sports, they're made to feel like they are because of the whole participation award society.
Yeah, I think it gets even deeper than that.
I mean, that's
I think a
just
lot of times.
type thing is
No, and that's a big deal. What I have found out is even worse than that, because the problem, especially with boys, but also with girls, I mean, don't get me wrong, but because of that, and it depending on the culture too of that particular child, is that a lot of the boys are, because they're the man, the boy, they get so much pressure on them because they are the boy, so they have to play even if they don't want to. And what happens a lot of times is that these kids, and that's why we really want to focus on the mental aspect, and is because these kids eventually, at some point, whether you're Tom Brady or you are a 10-year-old kid who just started, you are going to stop at some point. No matter what, you will not play until you are dead. I mean, you can play for fun, but if you're going to play like competitive, at one point you're going to stop. And what happens is a lot of these kids, that particular sport. And what we don't want that to happen, we want these kids to understand, yes, they are a basketball player, a football player, a hockey player, whatever it is, but they're a human first. And the human part is what counts. The other stuff, it's going to come and go because you're not going to play for 75 years. So you're going to play for 10, 5 minutes or 20 years, but eventually you will stop.
Yeah.
And so too many, even the professional athletes, how many athletes don't know who they are when they stop because that's all they've done since they were 8 years old or
Right.
6 years old. So you have these athletes who get into trouble, not just because, the silly media saying, well, they're uneducated or this and that. No, it's not just that. It's a lot more than that. It's also they don't know who they are without the sport.
Oh yeah, I've seen that all too
And then
many
what
times.
happens next? And they don't know what to do because it's like, what now? Who am I?
Yeah.
And that's where to me, the very serious issues come. And that's why you unfortunately see so many kids die by suicide, and freak out and panic because all of a sudden they blew out their knee and now they can't play.
Oh,
Yeah, having covered sports my whole life, I can tell you right now, that is so true. Once the noise has gone away and the fans are away, and then you have to start all over, that's when, to me, it becomes challenging. Now, Joshua Dore has an intriguing comment here. I want to make sure I'm explaining this in the right way. He talks about a guy by the name of Chris Turk, was the worst player on his middle school team, and now he's crushing it at the top of his high school. If I'm reading this correctly, what I want to believe that sometimes you have late bloomers here a little bit that take a little while to develop. So I'm going to just ask you this question just directly from me to you, from Joshua, okay? Is this something that's very common where you do have late bloomers a little bit later in the game to get to where Joshua is talking about?
It is. Obviously, like I said, it goes back to the same thing. Every sport is different. I
Right.
mean, how many cases like Scottie Pippen or others, and it's not just the only one, obviously, but he's one of the most incredible one. He was what, 5 foot something, and then he grows up to be 6'9" or whatever he is, 6'10", or I don't remember how tall he is. From 1 minute to the next, he grew like a full foot. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, that happens all the time, and it happens not just physically, it happens mentally, because the development process of all of us, it's like this. It's not like a straight line.
Yeah, so we're talking about growth as far as the individual physically, though. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
It's true. Some guys
but
take a little bit
it
while
goes,
longer, and then they spring up and they become a different player than
and
what
then
they
they
were.
take off.
Right.
But think about it. If you mature physically, slower or mentally slower, when you can put those two together, you take off because now you're ready. You're more confident. Because now you feel like you run better, you punch better, you push better, whatever it is that you're doing, you shoot better. It's like the stuff that before were like air balls, all of a sudden they're all going in because now you grew up that couple of inches, or your arms get bigger, or your chest got, whatever it is. So it goes hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. And yes, some kids, I mean, look at all the professional athletes.
Right.
You have some people, they just got drafted. They're 24 years old. Some people got drafted, they're 20 years old. So it doesn't, you never know. There is no one size fits all.
All right, here, let me have a little bit of fun with this. Rocket scientist, okay? So, or Joshua Dore says, do you have any tips for height growth over 25? Jesse Silver is about 30 and wants to get taller. You know what? I'm going to be sarcastic this one because of the nature of the question. Tell him to go ahead and have his spinach and talk to Popeye. We'll leave it alone. All right, I don't care about that.
Just water
It is
your
what it
feet
is.
at night.
What's that?
Water your feet at night.
Yeah, water your feet
at night.
Yeah, there you go. So there you
That's
go.
the best advice I heard all night.
And if you don't remember, just go back to the broadcast and you'll hear it. Okay, Rocket Scientist. Of the movies you have made so far, which one is your favorite?
Probably this one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, this I think is the most personal.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, obviously, one of the reasons that we brought you on multiple times, and I've said this to you before, is anytime you're dealing with a subject compared with children, then obviously people take note, and they obviously sometimes if you have them or you don't, it hits closer to home. If you don't have children, chances are you're babysitting as an aunt and an uncle or a godfather or godmother or whatever the case is. So if you have the only connection you don't have are with dogs and cats. Okay, and that would be that's a book waiting to happen for those that want to write it in a movie. But I can guarantee you one thing: their language is a whole lot more limited. They don't have to go to Webster's Dictionary to go ahead and find it. But great questions coming out of the chat room. It really, again, what I always say is a good chat room allows us to be able to expand what we've already prepared for, so that it makes it a much more complete broadcast. Joshua Door, Rocket Scientist, you guys are doing a tremendous job tonight. So, any other closing thoughts from you, Joel, about what you want to get out there before we wrap it up tonight?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk about this, because it's something that I'm very, very, well, not just me, my partners and I were very, very passionate about this. We're doing it because we love working with kids. We believe kids need more support than they're getting, and we just want to help them.
So here, look at this, Rocket Scientist. Scott, I've been telling you for 6 months, I provide the most value in the chat room. No doubt about it, Rocket Scientist, okay? That's why you're in the chat room and you don't want to come on camera, because you know where your value is in the chat room, okay? So there you go. Well said. Hey, I don't mind acknowledging it. I know it already. And guess what? You guys are going to be working double duty tonight, because following Pundit, we have Fire Up with Jeremy Ballrick and Candy Ebling. So you guys get double duty tonight, and you'll have a country club in there with them. And who knows how many dog chicks are going to let you have in that show. But meanwhile, you got a few anyways tonight, and you even got some from Coach Bono the other day. So my goodness. The fact that you got one out of him is unbelievable. So, like I said, Joel, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And what we'll do is down the road. Okay, no, is Will Vogel back tonight? I don't know, Jeremy. No, that's prohibitive. No, right? You can talk, Jeremy. It's okay.
I was waiting until you stopped talking. I was trying to be polite there, sir.
You were very polite. Now you can talk, sir.
Yep, open a new crack of Mountain Dew. Will Vogel returns to my show tomorrow night because his 2-week suspension is done.
See, look at that. His 2-week suspension will be done. Again, we have very strict policies here in terms of making sure integrity is all made, and we want to make sure that everybody values what an opportunity they have to not only enjoy the time we spend with our guests as well as their crews, but it's important to make sure that we all want to stand for the same thing. Joshua Door is definitely a fan of Will Vogel, because he's going to roast him on there when he gets on there. So watch out, Will. If you can't handle the roast, you're in deep trouble. Or eat a bag of broccoli on the live. This guy's incredible, man. These guys light it up. See, Joel, this is what has changed since you were on here last. Look at this chat room. These guys, between Rocket Scientist and my uncle Joshua Door. I'll leave Bo alone, okay? I don't want to get one out of him. Don't hold your breath. Just because he doesn't do a dog check doesn't mean he doesn't add value to the broadcast. But Joshua Door, everybody's trying to go along with your dog check. Some people just don't really want to do it. But you know what, though, Joel? In the spirit of this broadcast, you need to give a passionate dog check. Okay, so I don't have to deal with a FaceTime call tomorrow with these guys. Give it to me.
So what do I have to do then?
Give us a passionate dog check.
Just bark.
Just bark?
Yeah.
All right.
Woo!
There we go.
There you go. There's another one for you. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay. All right. Well, with that said, Joel, now you can let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, so you can check us out at whereourchildrenplay.org. You can find me on social media at Doc Youth Sports, Twitter or X. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, Instagram. We are The Real WOCP. That's it.
All right,
because
Jeremy,
we got hacked, so I had to change so it was a pain in the butt.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, hack away.
Well, let's see. You can find me here on the South Florida Tribune on the Inside the Pigskin, Pundits, and Fire Up anytime I'm needed, possibly even Professor and the Pupil when it makes a comeback. You can also find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, where I am live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and various other social media platforms where I share it to, which is Threads and LinkedIn. And you can also find my writings on the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading, where I write about the NFL and the Detroit Lions, mostly the Detroit Lions, but I'm dabbling more into broadening that into more NFL-based topics.
Very good. Well done over at the draft, too, Jeremy. You did a really good job. I was impressed with your performance there. All right, Denzel, go ahead.
Top Rope Talk Mondays, Tuesdays, Sideline Sports Network, and Sports Business Insider. Wednesdays, Confidential. We are currently in season 3. Everything's been rolling good. Thursdays, Pundit. Friday, Gauntlet, right on the Sideline Sports Network. Welcome back, crew from Detroit. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Love the pictures in Niagara Falls. I think Candy looks like she got a tan, like New York got her a tan or something. I don't know. She looked kind of dark when she did the station break there. But hey, really great. I saw the pictures and everything. Glad you guys had a blast, Scott. Know it was great seeing your hometown and everything,
Yeah.
and hope you all had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. And we're going back there this weekend till next Thursday night. So I have some unfinished business to take care of there. Part of it's going to be attributed to promoting the book, by the way. So
Scott's
that's
gonna
what
go
we're
fight
looking
an
to do.
old bully.
Oh, I go after everything. I don't care. You know what? I hold no prisoners or nothing. This book is something I take a lot of pride in. Just to let everybody know, my goal is to write the second part of Lessons from the Microphone by the end of the year. Oh, so go out there, and I'm compiling the stories here so I can put them in there. All right, Candy, take us the rest of the way. You know what to do.
Well, speaking of that book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders, it is available on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Apple Books, Google Books. It's right above me. It's
Way over there. Way over there.
way over there. There is a red subscribe button. If you see that, that means you have not subscribed to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Why? I don't understand. I can't. I just don't understand it. Hit that red subscribe button. Come check us out. Monday nights we talk about baseball. Tuesday nights we talk inside the pigskin. Wednesday nights sports exchange. You never know what we're going to be talking about there. It goes anywhere from NFL to NBA to NHL, cornhole, anything in between. Thursday nights is Pundit, and then of course Fire Up to follow. Normally 9:15, where you never know what we're going to be talking about on that show as well. But we always talk about something that's happening in my town on that show. So you can get your wherever you get your podcast. You can listen to our show and any of our other shows. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. If I missed anything, or if you missed anything because I talked too fast like Scott, they're scrolling alongside the bottom. All of that information. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Look to see what Jeremy wrote, the draft, Scott wrote. Go check us out. Go check some of my photography out. I think that's about it, though. If you have any show ideas, you can email us, southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you comment, you never know. We might be bringing you on the next episode.
There you go. You missed one thing. Rocket Scientist is keeping you on your toes, Candy. Tell everybody about the merchandise website.
Oh, that's right. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Middle of the first page, there is a link that will take you to our merchandise store. Grand opening. It opened last night. 20% off. I believe it's the first month. So go check out the store and get your purchases in for merchandise for South Florida Tribune and Motor City Madmouth.
So one thing about Joshua and Rocket Scientist, man, they keep you on your toes. These guys are sharp guys. I'm telling you, these guys are unbelievable. I get them on a FaceTime every day, and I enjoy it. I really do look forward to their calls. These guys are absolutely a lot of fun to hang around. And you know what? They don't just come in on one show. They actually, Joel, support the whole program in the network. I mean, listen, I've seen them on Chicks and Salsa. They chime in over Jeremy's, and they get fired up. These guys go all over the place. These guys are an absolute blast to have out there. They just really are. So it's not like they're one trick ponies. You can find them everywhere. And I'm glad that they were able to come by and provide some great questions to complement what we were talking about tonight. So with that said, any
Jeremy wants to add something.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
I just want to say, I think what Joel is doing is amazing. And if anybody has a child that's about to be an athlete, at least go check out the website, see what it's about, consult with him via email or whatever chat message they have through the website, and find out exactly what they can do for your athlete. Because I think it's an amazing thing. And if they can actually get the parents on board with getting out of the child's head, that's the biggest thing that will help a child in athletics.
Yep.
And also, I'm guessing you're also going to let them know what sports uses the same core fundamentals, because the child should be multi-sport while they're young to help develop all those same muscle skills, correct?
Correct.
I'm just thinking outside the box, and it popped in my head. I was going to ask that earlier and didn't get a chance to.
How's the matter? You got the
Yes,
chance.
always multi-sport.
Yeah, you got the chance and you made it count. Very good, Jeremy. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for their time tonight. Sorry, Jennifer, we weren't able to stand a little bit longer. I know you wanted to be here, but you know, hopefully down the road, we'll bring Joel back when he has more updates down the road. I don't mind bringing him back occasionally on this show as long as we have additional updates based on where we started tonight. All right, Joel, does that sound all right to you?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Scott, what I would say is, Joel, just so you know, Jen is one of the girls on three chick. We have 3 chicks or chicks in salsa, and we do it Tuesday nights at 7:30, and it's an all female group. Typically, we have guests, obviously, so maybe we'll bring you on 3 chicks, and then Jen can talk to you there, and so you have another platform to, tell everybody about what the wonderful work that you do.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea. So there you go. Look at Joshua Door. My badminton career never took off, so I became a janitor. Yeah, you're not doing too bad, Joshua. I see the kind of vehicles you're driving. I don't know if badminton would have got you the vehicle you did, but janitor work certainly did. So I'm not going to get into what the guy drives. All I know is I see it on FaceTime. So, but that said, that would be a great opportunity for you, Joel. Candy and Jennifer will bring it on and give a night, and I'm sure that whatever questions she may have had set aside, you can certainly fill in the blanks with them. Great stuff all the way around. So, meanwhile, this does conclude this edition of Pundits. Pundit Fire Up is next with Jeremy Ballrick and Candy Ebling. So, on behalf of Jeremy Ballrick, Joel Franco, Candy Ebling, Denzel Snipes, and myself, Scott Morgan, off the Motor City Madmouth, thank you for joining us. And we will not be on next Thursday night. We'll be in Detroit, but we'll be back at the same time and same place in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody, and have yourself a great weekend. Bye now.